think everyone's here.
All right, we're going to just start aja ya. So yeah, I think nothing. I don't have anything to say. I just don't forget to tell your POI preference, or maybe like if you want to edit your gender pronouns, that's also good. But yeah, the important things is your preferred POI. Yeah. So yeah, I think PM you can open the debate. Yeah.
I'm gonna ask for a minute or two in here to prepare a bit. Am I audible, by the way?
Yeah, but
Yeah.
your voice is low.
Hello.
Is small.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask for like a minute or two to prepare.
Hello, Uji.
Yep. Yeah, I don't have to set my timer. All right. Okay. So for my POI preferences, you could just okay. For my gender pronouns, you could just refer to me as a he him or, and for my POI preferences, you could just um state it through the voice chat because I won't be looking at the main chat. So yeah, start my debate soon. Okay, starting my debate in 3, 2, 1. In the current status quo, students in university are heavily struggling with the current workload. Yet they are forced to take these certain courses unrelated to the major which they have took in the first place nonetheless, which makes it even much more agonizing to be a varsity student in the first place. And now we abolish this under this necessity under side government. Now, how would this actually look like? First of all, it looks like taking a course within your university or in your university and taking up the responsibility and the requirements to complete it successfully. This looks like certain clubs in university. It includes like debate or MUN, for example, Model United Nations, and other courses such as civics or cross economics, for example, where you actually have to take this responsibility up and also uphold it, or for example, actually do well and succeed in this thing, so that you won't actually so that your scores in the end of the day won't actually be affected, meaning that you actually have to manage your time between your main courses and these subsidiary courses as well. Now, second of all, our burden, I would like to state our burden in this debate. Our burden in this debate is actually to protect these main vulnerable actors, or the actors in this debate, which is exactly the students in here, and not really the university rectors in here, but rather the students, which actually relies a lot on passing university to actually get a job in the future, for example. Now, opposition on the other side actually has to prove why this is actually exclusive, for example, in the for learning like long learning, lifelong learning skills, for example, which opposition has to prove you that you could only find under their side, and they also have to prove why this would actually benefit these students more on their side and compared to as compared to ours, right? But first of all, I would like to preempt what opposition might come into this debate with. They might say again that some of the lessons that you actually take in university, for example, like cross economics or MUN and debate, are only actually important, are only acting like as a safety net, especially because in the end of the day, they could actually use these lifelong learning skills to be implemented in real life, for example, and you could only get this inside of university. Now, actually, I would actually respond to this first of all, by saying that you can actually still get this outside of university, for example, like debate clubs or MUN. You could actually apply to, like, for example, this Putandum or whatever like that, which doesn't really require you to be in university. And if so, you won't be actually pressured to actually excel well in here, because it's much more flexible, right, for you to actually control yourself. And especially if you actually do this at university, it actually directly affects your scores, and you have to actually excel in this. Otherwise, your name will be actually for example, um defamed, or for example, your scores will actually be affected in the end of the day, right? Or directors won't actually like you. Now, this is why it actually pressures more for the students if they take these courses in university, right? Now, when we actually ban they could actually still find these courses outside of university, meaning that it's actually not exclusive under your side of the house, and therefore you can't bring this up. You can't say, opposition can't say can't come into this debate saying that these are going to be like safety nets, or for example, these things that you actually learn in your that you actually learn in university would only be exclusive and can only be found if you actually apply for those in university. Right now, moving on to my 2 points of arguments in here. First of all, my first argument will be about why this actually demonizes the student's workload as a university student in the first place, and second of all will be why does this actually indirectly affect the student's mental well-being and capability, which is an extension to my first argument just now. So for my first argument in here, why does this actually denies the student's workload as a university student? Now, the problem in status quo in here is actually that lots of university students are actually very pressured already as a university student with the workload that they already took up as a university student. For example, if you're in the in the law faculty or in economy faculties, you're gonna be pressured to actually take up those courses and actually do well and succeed, so that you won't be stuck in that faculty or in university, for example, like over 8 semesters or so on and so forth, right? And even if so, your diploma is exactly what you actually need in the end of the day, and not really these certain courses, because you could actually find these courses outside of university, right? Now, when the problem here actually rises, where students are actually having a very tough workload and a tough responsibility as well to take up in university, right? We can actually kind of like just allow them to actually choose to take up these courses in the first place, or actually force them to take these courses, because exactly this will demonize their work, their already existing student workload, which is tangible already, right? We could actually see this, for example, from students nowadays, which are actually much more stressed out in university, or actually not being able to take up their responsibility or the workload that they already have. Now, what in the end of the day, if they actually take up these courses, they would actually have the prerequisite to doing so is to actually have a good time management as well, which not everyone have, right? Because not it doesn't mean that not everyone are actually good in managing their time, but they might not have the time exactly because of their students' workload already, right? And because they actually have to prioritize their first burden, which is exactly as the varsity student, you must focus on your faculties first. Now, what does demonizing here actually mean in the first place? It looks like when you have to take up another responsibility, as exactly what I've said before, was leaving their current responsibility or task behind in the bin, right? Although not entirely, yet it is still a burden here which they will have to take up, right? These university students will have to take up in the end of the day. Now, this for an example, it's for example when a student from a certain faculty like economics or accounting takes up debate, for example, which is completely unrelated to their major, they have to cater towards both of them, right? Meaning it will be hard for them to actually focus towards both sides, right? And even if so, if they actually want to take one of them, they must sacrifice a bit from the other, right? The requirement for them to pass this isn't the requirement for them to actually graduate university isn't really their certificates from winning debate, rather the diploma itself, right? It isn't really their lifelong learning skills, which they actually learn in university, for example, which will be the passing criteria for them to pass or whatever like that, right? Now, this will actually lead towards two things in here, which is exactly, first of all, this will actually directly affect their grades in the first place, how they actually can't focus on their main burden in the end of the day. And it's a priority to as a varsity students, as I've said before, which is exactly to take up your courses well first, right, at university, and actually get good grades, good scores, or for example, a high GPA or whatever like that. So you could actually graduate well and actually find a good job in the future, because the prerequisite to finding a job is exactly to getting the diploma and not really going for these courses. Before that, I'll take any POIs. Going once, going twice, going thrice. No POIs. Okay. For my second, and then this will actually also lead towards this will actually directly affect their mental capabilities as well, which is exactly the extension towards my second argument in here. Why this directly affects the student's mental well-being and capability. As I've said before, and I've mentioned before in my preemptive just now, I've told you how that university students nowadays are actually very burdened or stressed out already in university. This is you could actually see this by lots of by more cases of, for example, suicide in university or whatnot, right? And this actually happens exactly because they can't really take up their workload as well. Now, opposition can't really just wipe the slate clean and say that all these university students might be able to still take up their workload and these extra courses in the end of the day, as long they are able to manage their time or whatnot, right? Not everyone has this equal mental capability, right? And only pressuring them to actually take up these other courses as well, which actually doesn't really affect their grades or which actually doesn't really affect their passing in the end of the day, but actually affects their grades in the end of the day, which actually makes them harder for them to pass. In the end of the day, is actually much more antagonizing or agonizing towards these students and won't actually help them in the end of the day. So under our side, when we actually remove this in the end of the day, what you get is students being more flexible and or being less pressured in university, for example, and actually being to go out there and just learn these lifelong learning skills outside of university in the end. I mean, it's much more flexible for them. Anyways, thank you for listening. Proud to propose.
Thanks, PM. By the way, guys, you need to time your stuff, yeah, because after 7:20, I'm not going to take note all of the thing that is said. Dan just want to make it clear aja, aku berpacuan dengan timer yang ada di Zoom. So yeah, you need in the meantime you need to check the timer. Is it already like 6 or 7? To continue the case, calling LO here.
Just to make sure I'm audible. Check.
Yeah, you're audible.
Okay. If you want to be I just drop in the chat box. No gender preference and no verbal POI. Wait, setting timer. Okay. Starting my speech in 3, 2, 1. We have to realize that the one of main interest of a university rector is the maintaining or enhancing in the future a reputation of that university itself. This involves efforts to achieve better rankings, attract quality faculty and students, and etc. In the future, a focus on innovation and also research in increasingly important interests. University want to maintaining their position a center of advanced knowledge and contribute in new discoveries in the world among the university and etc. In their side of the house, when this lesson is removed, a leading course will be added and etc. to fulfill the obligation to fulfill the course and etc. Meaning it means there will be a more time to them to learn. There will be not time to them to learn a critical thinking and etc. Because the prerequisite for you to be interested to joining the debate are at least first you like the matter, or second you have a time to do that and etc. But all these things will not be in their side of the house, because if the lesson is gone, cannot happen the interest of being a debate person on etc. But secondly, when they this subjection or this lesson in the start school, they have to adding a new subject to make up for the deficiency in the subject in the start school, and this is extremely difficult. First, this course is usually in the in the first or second semester. Students are just adjusting to the college situation, and so that's okay because they are still in the first semester. Besides, in their immediately given coding in first semester example, their score or their IPK at the end will fall far and won't be able to get a cum laude and etc. Second, okay, if they want to replace this course with a serious course, for example, in the first semester, I have a full accounting course, a coding course, and etc. This will be extremely difficult because not all of the students can achieve the lesson all the time and etc. And later they will be burned out. So there must be a time for them to rest and to take a rest and learn something else, not also a coding or accounting itself. Third, this is okay because this is accordance with the current government. The Nadiem Makarim program of Campus Merdeka in the future, for example, where a law student can become accounting student in the third semester or in the fourth semester, and that's okay. You can become you can increase your knowledge, you can increase your experiencing in the start school and etc. And moreover, in the final semester they will already be studying seriously and won't be studying as kewarganegaraan in accounting etc. etc. So proud to oppose. Move to our issues first. I will only I have to only talk about critical thinking in our side of the house first. Notice in courses that no thank you, no formal PI. Courses that cover civic issues are often a vehicle to encouraging students to develop critical thinking skills, which are valuable assets in various fields in start school, including accounting and etc. In the deep analysis is one of key elements in the accounting. Uncritical thinking skills are important in forming that analysis in the accounting, and you want to if you want to make a solve in the accounting problem and etc. First, when the students are invited to participate in discussing about citizenship issues, they must consider many diverse point of many diverse point of view of their statement and etc. And this encourages them to understand that the world is not always black and white, and issues are often complex with many interactive factors. This is very relevant in accounting, where every transaction and policies has various implications. The ability to view problems for multiple points and view is a valuable skill in the deep accounting analysis and etc. I will not accept any PI. Second, I think in the world of business and accounting, effective communication is a key of you can break a leg in your company and etc. Critical thinking skills help students to formulate strong argument and speak with confidence about their findings in the accounting or their journal and etc. Being able to explain the analysis clearly is an important skills to confining financial information to the stakeholders in the start school or their company and etc. Thus, this is a strong link between course that encourage critical thinking about civic issues and the critical thinking skills that are so valuable in the accounting, etc. This is an example of how a holistic and comprehensive education that can provide ongoing benefits to students across a wide range of studies areas and etc. The correlation in between this point and in our side of the house is first, when the students are able to develop critical thinking skills, they gain the capacity to criticize our current policies and issues in more depth and variety and etc. This creates a strong intellectual foundation for participating in the opinion formulation in the NUDC and etc. This is okay. A very deep understanding of critical thinking skills show that this is not just an academic skill. It is a power tool for engaging you in a world full of challenge and important issues. Manifest in our side of the house is first, when students have a strong critical thinking skills, the positive impact are far-reaching and more reaching in our side of the house. First, critical thinking skills are often learned through a deep mastery of material. Second, critical thinking skills involve the ability to analyze information and evidence in the depth. And this is okay because in their side of the house, when students go to a college or go to a varsity or university, their lessons are already focused. There is no time to learn critical thinking, etc. Because in a highly complex context, students who have critical thinking skills become valuable asset for their universities, and this is also in line with the interest of the rector in that universities to higher the ranking of the universities, etc. They not only enhance the university image through achievement in the competition, but also make an important contribution to university intellectual development and reputation as a center of education excellences in the status quo, etc. A strong critical thinking and writing skills acquired in such competition to can contribute to research and scholarly work and etc. So then we have proficient in critical thinking, can conduct a more depth research to formulate strong argument in their scientific work or in their journal, in the accounting also, and not that just bad things in President House for the oppose. Thank you.
Thank you, LO. Now continue, DPM here.
Could you please give me like a minute or two to go to the restroom?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Okay, I'm back. Good evening, everyone. My name is Angeline, and for my pronouns are she, her. For my POI preference, I prefer if you open your mic and speak up, verbal POI, because I won't be reading your chat at all. Please give me time to set up my timer. I'll be using my own personal timer, and I will start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Mr. Chair, the University Council requires all of their students to take certain lessons that may not even be relevant to their own major, and then expects these students to understand it and fails them for not knowing something completely unrelated to them. This is straight up down bad, horrendous, because students' scores will be impacted if, in this case, they fail because of these unrelated lessons and etc. It can affect their entire scores and probably affect their performance as well. Maybe some students need to retain a good score to keep their stock, or probably to get a good job in the future, or to continue their studies. And these extra stuff are just basically making their scores dropping. And that's why, as the opening up government, our goal is to protect the scores and mental health of these students, and we must prove that our sector motion does this. And then what government wants here is that they want to maintain the reputation of universities, they want to retain the rankings of students, and etc. And this is selfish. Remember, panel, Mr. Chair, this is selfish, and your goal is to make good students, to generate a better generation for the future, and you want to retain the reputation of university and retain rankings of students, etc. That's just straight up selfish. Now, I want to point out some things that opposition hasn't bring up, and some things that opposition has made a mistake in. They have been talking about critical thinking all the time in their debate, and they still haven't explained how their side of the motion won't increase the workload and stress out the students, which was argument that was brought up by first speaker. And then before moving on to my extensions, I have one independent rebuttal that government came to this debate saying that they want to develop the critical thinking skills with extra lessons. That's like what I said before. They keep talking about critical thinking and etc. But this can't just happen under our side of the house because, okay, critical thinking, what is critical thinking developed from? It is developed from experience, from hands-on experience, from trying to find out the solution of something, and you don't really need those extra lessons to do that. You can always do that if a university probably implements certain type of projects that could help develop mental thinking, critical thinking, for example, field work, observation, reports, proposals, and etc. Basically experiments and etc. There are still other projects that you can implement in these main lessons that can help to develop critical thinking skills, and that's why for opposition to bring up the argument that critical thinking skills is only gained under their side of the house and it's important, it's fatal because it's not exclusive to their side only, it's also on our side of the house. Now moving on to my extension, what my first speaker has said is that the added workload, I mean, like having all of these unnecessary lessons that are not related to a certain major demonizes the workload that some students already have because, well, yes, there's too much things to focus on. They have to finish this task and that task, the deadlines short and etc. Now, what opposition replied with is, it's okay because it happened in the earlier semester and they need to adjust to varsity life and etc. Now, okay, adjusting to life, varsity life and etc. doesn't really need these extra lessons or these extra curriculums that you need to take and etc. You can always, students can just adjust anyways, even without these kind of extras. And if you add these lessons, they're just going to get more stressed out. Some students are already stressed out from the amount of work that they need to do. And when you add these tasks, students get distracted from what they have to do mainly. They won't work optimally because their brain aren't used fully to focus on their main tasks. Their brain are scattered everywhere because you're giving them extra tasks and extra, you're giving them more things to think of. And that's why hopefully by implementing our side of the motion, we can protect their scores by directing them to focus on the main parts of the subject. And we still can develop their critical thinking, like what the opposition should probably say, that they might happen under house, which is not exclusively under the house anyways. Hopefully, by implementing our science and emotion, we can protect their scores by directing them to focus on the main subject, and we can create better students with probably mental health. Now, mental health is something that my first speaker also stated that my first speaker said that by implementing our science and emotion, we can hope to actually retain the mental health and well-being of these students. Now, opposition hasn't replied to this at all. And that's why it just gives me a room and chance to actually extend on this without having to rebut anything. So the reason why we cannot have that much unrelated lessons to a certain major is because when there's too much task, like what I say, too much stress. And when these stress accumulate at certain times, it's going to cause unhappiness and anxiety and probably cause depression. They feel a big pressure from all of those tasks, from all of those works they have to do, from all of those pressures to remember everything and retain good scores, and people still expect the same results from an overloaded student. That's basically like comparing to CPUs, like for example, an overloaded CPU and just a good and well-running CPU with like and you expect the overloaded CPU to work the same like the one that's actually a good CPU that's not overloaded, etc. And because of these expectations from people, for the incentive from society for these students to get good scores, many varsity students are actually committing suicide. There are so many cases now, there's so many news, like what have my first speaker said, there's so many news of students, varsity students committing suicide. And that's why we hope that by at least if we actually implement our side of the motions, even if students are already stressed out, even if students are already anxious about all the immense pressures and stuff from university itself, at least by abolishing unrelated courses, unrelated extra lessons and etc., we can at least help them not add their stress. We can at least help them relax for once and have more time to think about their task and get it done quickly. And at least we hope at least they have time to think about themselves, to take care of themselves. Because back again, you can't really always focus on about what the university wants, We need to focus on what you need to have a well-rested student. You need to have students with good mental health being so they can be becoming productive. If you keep making them stressed, anxious, depressed because of the immense pressure, you won't have well-rested students. You won't have students that will work optimally, which if we want to retain the reputation of universities, will not happen because these students are actually underperforming because of all the online structures and etc. And this is why we are proud to propose. Thank you.
Thank you, DPM. Now to close the opening debate, calling DLO here.
Okay, I will wait. I will take some drink first. Okay. All right, I'm going to set my personal timer. And I'm just going to organize my papers because yeah, it's so messy. Okay. Now for POI preference, if you want to POI, RAR. Okay, so unmute yourself and RAR if you want to POI. And for gender pronouns, it's she, her. And I will start my speech in 3, 2, 1. So, ladies and gentlemen, OG is off topic on this motion, right? So this motion, what does it talk about? What is the interest? It's talking about the rectorate, right? And what they kept talking about is the interest of students, not the interest of rectorate. Like they kept talking about the students, and they didn't give any explanation or mechanism on how what everything they said aligns with the rectorate, on how everything they said links back to the motion, right? So they're basically off topic, but it's okay because yeah, everyone makes mistake, right? Now, a couple of rebuttals to OG. First of all, they say that students are already pressured and they will like hate the course and hate the general course, right? However, that is not really true because it's a way for adaptability, right? Because what students are having trouble with going to university is usually of the adaptability thing. Like they hate going into like specialized subjects because it's like so different compared to their high school, right? And I will explain later on this. Okay, and it's also not pressuring because general knowledge is usually in the early semester of universities, right? And it's going to be less pressure because it's something that they have learned from their high school, but it's like being re-explained and give more depth in their university. Okay, now they say that, oh, but like this kind of skills, this general knowledge, you can learn it from outside school. However, like they talk about students, right? Okay, so we'll engage on that. So like by learning it from outside, it will require the students, this vulnerable actor that they say, more time and more money. All right, because like when you want to learn this general knowledge outside, like for example English, it requires them to pay for like tuition for it, like for the course they need some more money. So they're not just paying the university, but they're also paying for this course, and there will be more pressure because it requires more time, right? Because when you delete these general subjects, it will be filled with something like coding, journaling, or something like that, right? They won't have the time they enjoy or practice critical thinking at all because this time are being occupied by the subjects, by these specialized subjects, right? And I will later explain more on that. Now they talk about mental health issues where students are having mental health issues where they commit suicide because of the university. However, please note this: in the status quo, mental health problems among students usually comes at like mid-semester or late semester. It doesn't come at early semester. Usually students are just enjoying their life and enjoying their university at early semester, right? They only become stressed when it's already at the mid semester and late semester, which is what they learn. They learn about specialized subjects from mid semester on. They no longer learn about general knowledge. So what this tells you is that specialized subjects from early on actually contributes more to mental health effects, and they might even commit suicide earlier, right? So now moving on to my extension, which is like upholding the image of university, right? And as rectorate, we want the university to look good, right? We want our uni to look good for employers, for students, for parents, because we want more money, right? Because the better it looks, the more money we will get from government, from the students. Now, why why on their side of the house this is basically not happening, right? Because on their side of the house, the students will be ignorant, won't know about like these general subjects like English and then civil stuff and math, right? Because for example, if you study sociology or something, and if they say that they want to eliminate all general knowledge, meaning that they won't learn math, right? And what this makes them look like? It will make them look stupid in front of employers. And if it look bad on employers, it will look bad for the university, because employers, the thing is, employers want more skills, right? They don't want only the specified skills. They also want like these general skills like math, English and stuff. And of course, critical thinking, right? Which on their side of the house, the students will know we don't have the time to do so because it's filled by like their specialized subject. They won't be able to do debate because they're busy doing this specialized subject, which is way more harder than this general knowledge or this general subjects, right? And it makes people not interested into going this university because of the low employment rate that they are having, due to the fact that the students there are ignorant and employers don't want to hire them, right? And then the rectorate will get less money because yeah, no one wants to go into their university, right? And on our side of the house, students will be more knowledgeable because they will be taught from early on this general knowledge. It will be more interesting to employers if they know about all of this stuff and not just the specified subject. And they will be more likely to be employed by people, right? They will be more interesting, basically. Now, moving on to my argument, which is students will be more interested in our university. Now, because as rectorate, we want more students, right? So that we can get more profit from the government and from the students itself. Because the more students that enroll on our university, the more likely that the government is going to help you, is going to give you money, right? And the more publicity that you will get, meaning you will get more students, right? Okay. So, and also it's like for the general course, meaning we are advocating for equal distribution of education, right? And it will look very good to other people, to other people and to like the public, right? Because we want equal distribution of education, because high school is very unequal, and we have seen that there are like huge educational gaps. And the thing is, on our side of the house, a lot the thing is, like a lot of students in the status quo, they are majoring the wrong thing, right? Or they are majoring the things that they are forced to do by their parents or by the expectations of society, right? And general subjects might include something they like, because the thing is, when they are forced into this major, or they wrongfully chose their major, they won't be enjoying the specialized subjects. And this is like the problem that we are having in the status quo, because high school doesn't allow us a lot of exploration, right? And when you give like these general subjects that include something they like English or math or something, it will be good for the self-fulfillment of the student. They will feel happy because basically because their stress can be healed by studying these general subjects, which can be fun for them instead of pressuring. They will be more productive because they think it is something that is because they feel smart about doing it, right? And they will be more interested into going to uni, meaning they will be more productive. And right, it's also familiarizing them with the university and with the subjects with the special subjects that they will go on. Like for example, when you are like in technique informatica, you need to learn about like math, right? Like math and stuff, and it's like very important to familiarize them with like the basic math, even though it's not something math that they will learn from. And it's good for the adaptability of students, because they are still because in the status quo, people are struggling with adapting to university, right? Because sometimes it's like very shocking for them. And the thing is, this gives a good experience to students, and good experience meaning that the students are more likely to promote it to others, and we will as rector to get more money and more profit from the students, right? And that's why we are happy to oppose. Thank you.
Thank you, DLO, for that speech and proposing the opening debate. Now we're now for opening the closing debate, we're calling member of Gov here.
Hey, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Okay. Gender pronoun, she or her. AI preferences under yourself. Let me start my timer first. Okay. I will start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Okay. As closing, let's talk about several response to our member of opposition. But before that, Education is not the filling of a pail, but the lighting of a fire. It's not about like formal reason for you to take education, but it's something you have to passionate about. Several respond about it. Firstly, students need courses to enhance critical thinking, they say, creativity, they said, or even collaboration. The fact is, it doesn't mean you are not smart enough. If you only depend on courses that related directly to your major, it doesn't mean you cannot learn about critical thinking, creativity, or anything such you want in a class. And even though, second case, general courses would make students who forced to take any specific major would be so much happier. I think this kind of case is asymmetrical cases. We don't have to talk about it actually, but let me engage first. We don't think you as student is justified enough to take any specific major that your parents taught you, but it has justification to take when it's your reasonable and logical thinking thing. Oh, it's justified enough, I have to agree with my parents. Um but outside of that all, it's not about what the major and how this kind of general course would make you happier. Let's talk about how it's not actually will happen. General courses would not make like 50% of it, would not make like the majority of your time in a class. So at the end of the day, this kind of student wanted to survive. Why? Because they only pursue that kind of general courses. When in our cases, we gave them option. How we gave an option? We actually abolish it, so student would have a lot of option whether to take it or not. Look how um our um our cases as closing government would be much more diverse rather than opening government. We do agree opening government would take student as their vulnerable actor, because this kind of actor is having so much burden, they are paying for their tuition and such. But let's talk about three main actors in this debate. It is university rectorate, because this is a debate for actor motion, and um and this university alone. So our stances would be simple. We want three things. As rectorate, we would have a lot of interest, but the main interest must be to be recognized for being changes, right? And secondly, we want to pursue holistic development for our uni, since we want to be special. We want to give specialization in our classroom, rather than focus on how it is make our student would be happy and such, because happiness is an abstract way. It cannot be justification in your debate. Lastly, we want our student has more option of general courses, like I ever talk about. Let's talk about why opening government need a lot more extension, on why this kind of this kind of this kind of motion uh had mechanization like what they want. They want they want this all general courses would be the club and such, but there isn't any explanation on how this kind of mechanization is much more better rather than opposition. Let's compare about this kind of mechanization. As rectorate, we would abolish it. Why? Because we already learned about general courses in junior high school, in elementary, in senior high school. We actually already know that this kind of student actually paid tuition to place to learn specific major, right? And we have to appreciate it. It's not because, oh, we have to remain ourselves on basic things. we have to still learning about it because we can potentially forget. No, it's not about it. We want to be we want to be the big changes. We want to be the one and only university when you learn a lot of things. You actually your times in university for 4 hours would not be a waste because you would learn much more things in major related courses. For example, you learn about research more rather than focus on English, Indonesia, and languages or any other subjects that actually general, and you can learn about it outside of the class. And this is why we actually fulfill our three goals in this debate. Our three goals would be: one, efficiency; secondly, specialization; and lastly, about reputation. And why we are going to be more efficient? Because even when you say, oh, this is important, general courses is important, we are actually not limiting you to take this kind of general courses, right? But we give you an option. And secondly, we give you better mechanization on why you should learn better on deeper courses that related more to your career that you want. You always want to be a doctor, for example. You have to learn more about doctor related courses, right? You don't have to learn any more about um anything general that you already learned, right? Because you don't want to waste your tuition like for general things, right? And secondly, about specialization. Specialization cannot be taken under opposition side because they will think that, oh, every courses is important because every courses is there because reason, right? And it's actually not therefore focus. Thank you.
Thanks, member Glove. Now continue the case. Member out. Here.
Check. Am I audible?
Yep.
All right. Wait. Can I get 10 seconds to take my water? Okay. Starting my speech in 3, 2, 1. The first team that going to lose in this debate is opening oppositions. The moment that they are not explaining at all what actually the urgency, why then we are in the university that need to studying about PPKN even if they are not part of our major, and why then re-explaining from senior high school is going to be important, is going to be urgency in the end of the day. But before that, few clarifications. Here's the thing: the moment that you are already studying in junior high school, but you are studying in senior high school, for example, even if you are coming from IPA, but you are still studying bahasa or PPKN, or even if this is also same when you are in university that you are still studying bahasa Indonesia or PPKN. This is actually is the impact coming from your country image, meaning that if one or don't want, you have to study it because this is actually the image or the idea or the value coming from your country. Look on house like example, even if you are in senior high school, in senior high school you have to study bahasa Jawa even if there is no that effect at all because you are coming from Jawa. This is how actually the course is complex. Even if this is not might be impact coming from our majors, etc., but we have to study this because this is also part of the image of our country, how that we are stand to capture the value of our country from bahasa Indonesia, bahasa Indonesia or PPKN since very beginning. This few clarifications why then we have where then this urgency is coming that we have we have to studying about PPKN or Bahasa Indonesia in majority. But before that, engaging to OG talking about two things. First, the overload already and stressed out. Two responses toward this. First, you only study basic from major that you already studied from senior high school. So this is not be rationally when you are stressing out just because the basic study that you already know from senior high school. There is no correlations, or there is no example. There is no example the proof that you are going to stress out just because the major that you are study 2 hours compare that major you are study 6 hours with your real major. But even if this is actually the moment that you are going to abolish this is actually effect to you. You are going to be stressed out. We are going to flip this. We saying that you are going to stress us. Even if in the year first year of university, you will study a lot about you will directly study a lot about your real major. Meaning that the idea why then this PPKN or Bahasa Indonesia coming out, this is to example ice breaking or as example to explaining to you about how actually the major is, meaning that you're not directly jumping into your major. Even if their point is second is effect this is might be effect the grace because they cannot focus to their mind burdens. Two responses for this also. First, you can still pursue or you can still focus on your majoring because you are in college or you are in university, meaning that there is rational considerations why there is rational considerations to what the major that you are taking of, meaning that the pragmatic will happen. If you think this major will never be bring effect to you, you will leave it because you are a college or because you are a colleges, you are a student that you're already thinking about anything or any benefit that work to you. This is how actually this is I don't actually understand why this going to affect your majors. But even if too, the course that you are studying since very beginnings is only 2 hours, meaning that's comparing to your major that you are study like 8 hours or 2 hours, there is nothing with that. Meaning that this major will not going to impact to you about how your major since very beginning. But even if you are going to pursue in next semester, you will only study about your major. Look at how, for example, there is like law or there is accountancy, for example, you were more focused study on 6 semester, or whereas your ability that related with sex example. But before that, the few clarifications. First, there is no forcing side from a rectorate, from the docents, for the lecturers to understand the basic the course itself. Meaning that as long as you are study or following that, that's perfectly enough. There is no urgency that you have to studying, you have to re-explaining, or you have to studying about this, because we also realize that this is not a part of your major, so you can leave it or forget it whenever the course is in your classes. But even if with studying Indonesians, but even if this is actually, but even if the idea of implementation the idea of implemented discourse in around the society is different, meaning that they were only start in the idea of PPKN. The idea of PPKN is just to be formalitas, meaning that there is no such example. The narration that you have to focusing on this because you are in another major and centra. They were not and the idea of why this and the idea of why we are studying about this, meaning that we already recognitions about our country in the end of the day. Don't on how say example you are bringing this country in your major and centra. But I don't understand the urgency coming from governments, how then the mechanism they are going to abolish, meaning that this curriculum is from familiar, meaning that if you are going to change this, you are going to adjust the curriculum coming from government. That never happened coming from government, even if OG or CG. How this mechanism is going to be, how this mechanism is going to be effective in the end of the day, since it's actually this is going to be the image of the country, since this is actually the curriculum coming from the country, that you have obligated to doing this. But even it put PPKN major will never make you to unfocus to your certain major, meaning that the time that you are studying is different. This is just going to be formalitas and sentra. This is going to be formalitas and sentra. There is no forcing effect. There is no forcing size coming from your rector. There is no forcing size coming from your lecturer that you have to understand and you have to get grades A and etc. This is based onto you and how you are going to bring this major. If you are build this major, we're going to back. If you're going think this major is never effective, just leave it or forget it whenever the course is end. By the
Thank you, member up to close the debate from government side, calling government hearing.
Hello, am I audible?
Yep, you are audible.
Okay, I'll start my speech in 3, 2, we believe that focusing university resource on courses directly aligned with student major enhance academic depth and better prepare graduates for their respective fields, rather than wasting their time in unnecessary relevant that also cost the money and also cost time consuming. This approach ensures a more efficient use of resources, enabling students to develop special skills and knowledge that directly contribute to their chosen profession. Because we stand by our support that by abolishing unrelated courses, we prioritize quality education over quantity and efficiency, like the goal stated by my first speaker, specialization and also reputation of a university and also student itself. My first speaker already stated about the 3 goals, which is efficiency, specialization, and reputation. I would like to extend that argument. First thing is that specialized expertise and career relevance. Abolishing unrelated courses allows students in an, for example, accounting major to focus exclusively on subjects directly relevant to their profession, such as financial accounting, auditing, and taxation. Another example is that for engineering major, maybe they would focus more on building a more thing that much practical. As we know, engineering major is one of the hardest major, and that's hard to graduate, and they need to take a lot of time to graduate because of this unnecessary related stuff that they don't really need, even they don't really need it in their job. And this also ensure that graduate possess a deep and specialized expertise in accounting, making them more attractive candidates in the job market. For example, a student may pursue this major should not be diverted by courses like pendidikan kewarganegaraan. We acknowledge that pendidikan kewarganegaraan penting, but a lot of university students already learned that since elementary school. That takes a lot of their time. Maybe you mention, oh, maybe they forget about it. No, but pendidikan kewarganegaraan is the #1 priority in their school life. So they don't really need to
POI.
waste their time. No, thank you. Their time to focusing on pendidikan kewarganegaraan, because by registering pendidikan kewarganegaraan, they also waste their time, also waste their money only to that course, as this might delegate critical of skills needing in this major and respective major. Instead, a curriculum that tailored to the related major would practice and sense the graduates' employability and professional success. Now, I would like to go to my rebuttal. So the cost of purchase states that the general course or the unrelated course would benefited the student. In fact, this is not true, because the general course that unrelated major will not benefit both the university or the university student, especially in this case, the university student. For example, if you're studying computer science, which is one of the hardest majors that take time, and another unrelated course such as a language and liberal arts, pendidikan kewarganegaraan doesn't have relation to the idea of studying computer science. Not to mention, you waste your first semester that should have been fulfilled with more related major that will help you in graduation rather than the unrelated one. And this great example is brought by the United Kingdom of the British University, which only has 3 years university in time. Because why? Because they already take their students in time before they enroll in university to take the nonsense unrelated major, and also they can choose which that's why I mean they can choose the major that they want because they already learned that in high school. They already finished such unrelated thing that they wouldn't need in their major. That's why they have a clear vision. They only need to graduate in 3 years. Meanwhile, in
Oh,
Indonesia, you need to take 4 to 5. No, thank you. 4 to 5, even like one of the hardest major needs to even up to 6 years. And that's add up because of the unrelated major. Now move on to the glorifying argument that
before
brought
that,
by the first speaker. No, thank you. And then about that is that the second point that brought is that the efficient resource allocation and academic optimization. By abolishing unrelated course, university resource, including faculty time and facilities, can be
before that,
channeled more efficiently. No, thank you. Can be channeled more efficiently towards changing the academic of major related subject. This targeted approach ensures that students receive a comprehensive and in-depth education, for example, in accounting, and fostering a higher level of academic excellence. Now, not only, like I've said, it's benefited the university student, but also the professor or the lecturer. By we know, especially in Indonesia, lecturer and university professor need to also take a lot of their time, not only focusing on teaching their university student, but also they need to set up a lot of journal and a lot of
before six,
practical academic. And then they would also uh, relocate their time, not only um, relocate their time, not only teaching them about this unrelated stuff. They can more relocate their source to journaling and also focusing more on the student, especially like it stated about the mental health on how a lot of students fail
going before
to
six,
make it even in the first years, because a lot of students fail to even get through the general courses. They don't like it. They don't like, how am I enrolled in this major but I am not getting the education that I
before that,
deserve. And then, for example, a university department can use freed up resources to bring in industry experts for workshops, invest in advanced software or practical training, and maintain smaller class size for more personal attention. Because as we know, because this unrelated major, they take up a lot of spaces and also class sizes in the university building, making up a lot of university buildings also run out of these classes. This creates an environment where students not only learn theoretical concepts but also engage in hands-on experience, preparing them thoroughly for the complexity of the preparation that they want. And of course, we as a closing government stands by this, that we want more specialization, also efficient research. That's why we support this motion. Thank you.
Thank you, Gafwip. Now to end the whole debate, calling opposition whip here.
Okay, am I audible?
Yep, you are.
Okay, wait. Give me sometimes. Okay, my POI preference is just unmute yourself. My pronouns is a he/him, and wait. Okay. Okay. I'm gonna start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, before let me just recap this debate for us. Is that the government side in here, they focus on how this basic course is in a bad influence to the students. But we will rebut this by saying to each team how their argument is flawed, including the O. Okay, so first for OG. Now, OG in this case, they said that these basic courses can still be learned outside university, making the urgency for it non-existent. We say to this that these basic courses in here is still important for the students because these basic courses being a responsibility because these courses add to the education of the students. If you abandon it like in this motion, you reduce the range of fields students learn. Even if you say in the OG case, it is that it can be learned outside. The problem is that not all students will do that because this is not mandatory at the end of the day, making the cost for deleting it like lessen. And second, for the OG argument, why these basic courses is justified. These courses, even if changed, will only most likely get changed to another courses rather than just being deleted. So the argument that their argument that these courses that are unrelated to the major courses in that major cannot stand. University in here relies on the premise of teaching. If you reduce it, why do you want to go to that university? So this argument that are brought by OG that about burdening the student doesn't stand. We also have to consider that this premise of burdening student is usually only happens in semester 1 and 2, where basic courses usually exist. Basic courses in this acts as a starter to college life. This courses in itself is usually easier than the actual major courses that is usually harder. So this burden to us doesn't make sense. And third, the mental health brought by OG and brought by OG that is caused by stress. In reality, this doesn't manifest because these courses that is called burden is usually not even hard. It is used as a basic courses. It's not supposed to be hard. It is only happen in semester 1 and 2 where usually stuff like pengkaderan happen. Now, what happens if this courses is changed to the major courses? That is harder. You are making it harder for new students to adapt to the life in college. Even if you say students can still feel burdened by these basic courses that is easier than major courses, in the end of the day, at the advanced semester, you will eventually also felt this burden because these courses that is will get eventually changed to major courses at the end of the day. Will definitely change to the major courses in the advanced semester. So because as a student, you want to maximize 24 SKS in Indonesia, for example, so that at the end of the day, you will also try to take as many courses as possible. This argument of theirs. Second, for OO, the OO arguments talks about the equal distribution of education in here. We say that this equal distribution of education doesn't really stand because college, you student is actually more concerned about the prestige of the university itself and its major. You do not care about the basic courses that exist in that major when you try to choose it. Now you cared about the end process, what you're gonna get from going to that major. Now even if you say it can be useful for a student if you they get into a major and they want to change major, that this basic courses is still useful at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter because you will relearn it anyway in your new major. So this argument for OO doesn't really stand. And then for CG says abolishing basic courses makes its students have the ability to choose courses, but we have to realize that in the real world, this premise that they took is not applicable to everyone. It's not standardized. And for example, if we take in America, you already have the choices to take other major courses rather than taking basic courses again. Or if we take the example in Indonesia, where basic courses is bundled into something like called like paketan.
please.
No, thank you. In paketan. Now, if now this paketan in Indonesia, you have to take it. Now, if we abolish this new students for like America, in Indonesia, eventually still cannot take new like courses because it is already bundled in something called this paketan. So this argument that says abolishing courses makes students have the ability to choose is not proven correct at the end of the day. And then for the second argument brought by CG, they brought about the efficient use of resources like money by focusing on major courses. Here, that we argue that this argument doesn't stand because we don't think it's efficient. You could say that these basic courses indirectly help students by helping them creating soft skills like debating, counting in math, and etc. You could also say that by making basic courses in the beginning of semester, like semester 1 and 2, this also helps the students to adjust to life college, and then this making them becoming more efficient in learning for the long run, where even in the best case by CG, by making it efficient, by lessening time in college, this still brought side effects because increase mental stress for the students and also makes it harder for students to adjust to life in college where it is harder. And we have to understand that even this premise of efficienting is also up to the students itself, because if you really want to be efficient, students can make their own schedule, their their own schedule, so that they can maximize their time in college, what time they learn and what time they sleep and whatnot. And so we are proud to propose. Thank you.
All right. Thank you for the debate. Give me like 5 minutes to prepare my oral education. In the meantime, we can talk with each other and discuss the motion or talk about anything that you want. Maybe like virtually shake hand. So give me like 5 minutes. I will be back. Okay.
Okay, let's virtually shake hand.
Oh,
Shakes hands.
Shakes hand.
Wait,
wow. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Oh my God. Guys, I'm like sweating so much right now. Are you guys the thing like it's so hot, even though it's like midnight or something? But it's not.
I mean, yeah, because the situation in this room is hot gitu.
Yeah, right.
Mm-hmm.
I hate it so much. Like the current climate.
Real. It's too hot for me. Sampai aku tuh benar-benar pas pulang sekolah tuh panas dingin because my class is like freezing. Karena udah nyalain AC. Imagine udah nyalain AC, after you turn on kipas angin 2 lagi.
Oh my God.
So you know how cold it was inside like the class gitu kan. Terus aku keluar udah keringatan terus tiba-tiba menggigil sendiri gitu.
Menggigil
That was
sendiri.
Iya beneran serius.
Oh my
Oh my
God,
God,
ini
tapi emang
ya kesal
Kenapa?
dengan sekolahku. Sekolah negeriku harus investasi pada AC. Please, tanpa AC aku nggak bisa mikir.
Iya
Oh,
beneran.
okay.
AC itu kayak bisa increase your performance karena kan you feel relaxed,
Masuk
dingin
swasta.
gitu kan.
Ya. Kenapa Jamret? Atau Jeko? Or
Masuk
whatever his
swasta.
name.
Masuk swasta biar
Swasta.
Pengen sih. Tapi kayaknya kayak lagi lulus. Ngapain pindah sekolah?
You're grade 11, right?
I'm grade 12.
Oh my god, Kak.
No, it's fine. I don't really care about those stuff.
No, but like serious, me and my teammate are still grade 11 gitu.
Wow.
Yeah, you and your teammate. Yes.
Kalau di sini rata-rata pada kelas 12 atau varsity ya?
I'm in university kayak semester 3 nggak sih? Iya.
Ngambil jurusan apa, Kak?
Guys, guys,
Interesting.
low.
Low.
What? Low?
Yeah, low.
Yeah, same with me.
What is low?
Hukum loh. Low.
Oh, low. Oh. Sumpah. Oh my God. Aku kayak, apa? Low? Aku kelek dikit. Kayak, apaan low? Low.
Low.
No. Oh my god. Di sini rata-rata, like, I'm confused. Yeah, never mind.
Okay.
Nggak, soalnya aku tuh kayak, I am torn between ambil biomedicine or HI gitu loh. See? It's weird.
What's weird?
That's weird. Like, nggak tahu lah, nggak tahu. Anyways, wait, why is your camera? Cats.
Yeah, I love cats.
I love cats. What did I put a stupid background here? Wait, settings. Wait, why can't I put backgrounds?
So,
Anyways, nggak tahu. Kamu tahu?
what?
I tried to look for the background option, apalagi aku pakai HP kan, but like I can't find it.
Ya, aku juga jarang pakai HP sih kalau Zoom kayak nggak enak banget.
Iya sih.
Why don't you use your tab? Like that's my biggest question.
I don't nggak tahu, lebih efisien pakai HP aja kan, like aku lagi malas pakai tabku mau habis baterainya juga.
Oh, I see.
See the comment and answer it.
Yes.
No, no, aku not. Oh my God, high school bro, high school best speaker, not open best speaker. Oh no, Jeko.
I think
No,
he highlight
guys.
you.
I'm just like bored right now. I'm swearing.
Wow.
I had just showered. Like that's the problem, yeah. I had just showered, and I'm already sweating. Like I showered right before the debate starts.
Okay, that's like a serious problem. It is not hard, right?
Oh, what school you are?
Oji,
OB. We're both from SMA Budi Utama. It's in Yogyakarta, and it's not the one yang suka tawuran because we've been mistaken for that Budi Utomo yang suka tawuran. I think somewhere di Jawa Barat gitu loh.
Tapi
Like
kayak temenku yang di Jogja di sekolahnya itu ada klub apa ya, bukan klub sih, kayak geng kelitih I guess. Jadi ada 2 geng di dalam sekolahnya itu dan gengnya ini musuhan. Aneh gak sih? Ya,
Knowing that it's Jogja, I don't think that's weird. I mean, we've seen weirder gitu loh.
but you've seen weirder?
Maybe.
Like these
kayaknya
gangs are literally hurting each other with like senjata tajam or something
wow,
gak
in the
heran
same
sih.
school.
Gak heran sih, to be honest. Itu SMA mana?
SMA lupa SMA apa, tapi pokoknya negeri aja.
Oh, negeri. Kalau negeri gak heran sih.
apaan tuh Krit?
I personally haven't like found a problem with it, but like I think pernah ada kasus kelitih deket sini gitu. Like a bunch of kids or teens, they were chasing down this one guy sampai Warmindo, sampai orang ini tersembunyi di Warmindonya itu gitu loh. Untung Warmindonya
What?
rame. Iya.
God, chaotic banget dah.
Iya, terus habis itu like this 14-year-old who I think murdered this, I don't know, like this person gitu gara-gara kritik gitu kan, like dia iseng gitu loh. Terus habis itu he didn't know, itu
Iseng.
pas di trialnya itu dia ketawa-ketawa gitu.
Sumpah aneh banget asli.
Iya, ada. I think kayaknya itu cerita dari kepolisian gitu loh. Dia pas itu kan ada yang datang ke sekolahnya kita kayak buat seminar gitu kan. Terus dia cerita-cerita, oh ada yang gitu sambil ketawa-ketawa gitu, dia nggak nyadar. Sampai akhirnya dijatuhin hukuman, dia baru nyadar kesalahannya dia gitu.
Itu biasanya pengaruh dari alumni sih, kayak pengaruh dari kakelnya gitu. Kayak, oh kamu bunuh
Iya,
aja nggak
mungkin.
apa-apa gitu. Biasanya
Iya
gitu.
sih, mungkin gitu ya. Kayak gitu, probably.
Soalnya kalau di sekolah aku,
Um,
alumni gitu suka banget mengadu domba. So yeah.
oh my God.
Ya, dan bentar lagi kamu akan jadi alumni.
I mean,
Aku akan adu domba untuk membenci sekolahku.
gak heran sih kadang kan dia like hate school gitu, makanya dia kan mikir yaudah kita adu domba aja ya guys gitu.
Everyone, am I audible?
Yes,
Yes,
Yes.
you're audible.
Wait, I'm going to give the rank to to the to to kakak yang invite aku ke rank ke sparring ya. First of all, I just want to say thank you for trusting me to become your judges. Secondly, I just want to say that if you have any disagreement from my decision, you can tell me, and also disclaimer that I'm new in judging, so yeah, I think this just like a preamp ya. Tuh, halaman dia. Okay. First of all, thank you for the debate. It's such a debate. I don't have any general comments because I think that you already know the how the debate is need to work, and also the burden of each team. But I think this is not a general comment, but into my preference. That I think that all of you guys need to understand that this is an actor debate, and I think that I hope that in the future when you're debating when you're debating an actor motion, you need to understand, you need to prioritize how the interest of the actor, and also from how actually this is going to work in their perspective rather than in other perspective. Because if your argument is not related to the perspective of the actor itself, this is going to be hard for me to take credit of your point. Now to the result. Now to the first rank goes to opening opposition, second to closing government, third to opening government, and last is unfortunately goes to closing opposition. Now to the reason and also the justification of my rankings first, and to the lower rank first. I'm going to compare CO to OO. Why then CO is getting lower than OO? I think that first I have three reasons. First, in terms of benefit of the cases itself, I think that into the benefit of the cases itself. I think that CO is bringing that this is actually this is urgent for every individual in or student and also the university to learn PPKN or those any general general courses, or even like if this not urgent itself, this need to still learn, because this is just a formality. And in university, most of the lecture are not going to care if you like not if you're not like specialize it, because there's still other specialized courses. Now compared to OO, why I credit OO more into the benefit. I think that OO benefit goes into the long run on how this is actually going to be benefit student in after their work. And also you notice was also saying that in this world itself there is a lot of general problems, and these general courses can help the student. And in other and in the long run, when the student or when this graduate students is actually having a good reputation, this also can benefit the university itself. In the same time also benefit the rector, because of what? Because when the university is getting benefit is getting the benefit from that, there will be a lot of students that are going to apply to the university. And by giving these general courses, by giving these general courses, the rector going to make sure that this student going to have a better general knowledge and can solve general problem, and it's going to be impacted the university reputation and also benefit the university and also the rector at the same time. But second, I think that when it comes to the urgency that brought by closing opposition, the comparing to OO, the question that exists in closing opposition, how this is going to be in the rector perspective. So knowing that we're debating in actor debate, I think that the problem when CEO telling about the urgency and also telling that this is just a formality. So the question how this is going to be how this is going to be run in the rector perspective, knowing that as the rector perspective, you need to understand how you have a burden as the rector to improve your university credibility, and also knowing that you as rector need to increase the reputation of your university. I think that comparing OO to CO, I think that those points and also those burden that is far more closest to the spirit of the motion is exists on OO comparing to CO. That's why I put OO higher than CO. Now second, CO to CG. Why I put CG higher than CO? Let's see what CG bring in this debate comparing to CO. I think CO we already know what they bring from the comparison to OO. CG bring that rector and university need to appreciate the student because they paid the university to get the special courses, right? Comparing to CO, because when CO brought urgency, and this general courses is actually not hard and also just formality. Let's weigh this. I think that why CG won why CG won over CO is, although that CO tried to respond by saying that general courses is needed because of the urgency, and even if it is not this is just a formality, and this is not that important courses, and also from the perspective of the lecture, I think that CG respond this by saying that you need to have you need prioritize the specialist courses, so no need to learn this kind of general courses, because at the end of the day this is already learned or already studied in junior high school or senior high school. And I do credit CO try to respond this. They saying that these basic courses by CO try to respond in the way that basic courses is need to learn, but unfortunately there is no further explanation on how this basic courses going to link to the rector perspective. Comparing to CG at least try to say that in their side as the rector itself, you need to have an obligation to add to make sure that the student going to get the specialized courses rather than the basic or even rather than the general courses. So I credit CG in this. That's why CG won over CO. But second reason also in the or in the analysis of formality, right? Because CO bring that this is just a formality. This general courses is formality. I think that CG already responding that by saying there is a lot of students that also failed because of this formality courses, and I don't see any engage from CO or even like clear engage by to saying that why even there is a lot of student that actually not passing in this general courses. This is still like, but we still can put this as a formality and not going to give a more burden to students. I think in that analysis I put CG over CO. Now, last comparison to CO, why CO is lower than OG? I think that in the analysis of how this is going to burden the student, I think that although that CO bring that this is just a formal courses, or even like there is an urgency on this. I think this is still not answering OG point about how this is actually going to give the students stress or even like a burden, because the thing that CG bring, although that is not from the rector perspective, but I think that I think that OG and CO analysis is kind of same. I think that OG analysis is trying to tell us actually the student is already have stress because of the other courses that they have, especially in the specialist courses. So because of that, no need to learn general courses, because these general courses is actually just going to burden them, and this can create stress, or even in the worst case, this is going to give stress, or like there will be like a student that going to doing a suicide because of the stress that they have. I think that CO not responding this, not respond how this is not going to stress the student, because OG point is on the point of this is going to harm the students. CO not exclusively negate or negate this or even neutralize this argument, because CO argument is only focusing on how this is actually a formality. But so the question that appear when you're saying that this is just a formal courses, or even like this is we have urgency, how this is at the end of the day not going to stress the students, or even like if this stress the student, why this is actually okay. There is no answer from CO into from that question. That's why I put OG higher than CO. Now, why OG is lower than OO? I think that first, in terms of rector perspective, I think that OO is put the or giving their argument from the rector perspective on how this is going to be benefit the university, because that is the rector interest. They want this university is reputation or even like credibility is higher, because this is going to benefit them as well as rector. I think that OO argument is more into the student's perspective on how the student is the most vulnerable actor that need to be protected by the team itself. The question that appear in OG argument comparing to OO is why, as the rector itself, your student mental health is important rather than the credibility of the university. Although I still can credit OG by saying that student mental health is important, but I don't see any further analysis or reason to tell why then why students' mental health is far more important than the interest of director to increase the university reputation. If OG telling why this is far more important, I think that can change the decision. But there is no an analysis on that. That's why in the first analysis I put OO higher than OG. But second, in terms of pressuring the students, I think that I think that for that OG bring that this is going to pressure the student, giving stress, and in the worst case that this is going to make the students go suicide. But I think that OO respond this very good by saying that this is going to be benefit the student because they're going to have more knowledge. Example is the general knowledge that can benefit them in their job, because if they know general problem and they can create a policy, a solution in that, they're going to have a better career in their job. And this is at the same time going to give a good reputation to the university. Although that in opening government, your second speaker try to engage in the rector perspective, I think that the question that going to be appear when your side is focusing on how this is going to be harm students is how much the question that appear is how much the percentage of the student that going to have to be stressed in your side, and why stress is the most important thing that need to be protected in this case. I think that the question is appear in your chat, and OG not respond or not answer this burden, comparing to at least saying that this is going to be benefit the students in the long run, and and also increase the reputation. I put in that analysis I put OO higher than OG. But last analysis that even if it is going to be same, let's take the analysis between student versus student. I think that the analysis, OG analysis about this is going to pressure the students is already answered by opening opposition, by saying that stress is happen in the late semester, from middle to the late semester, and this general courses is coming in the early semester, and mostly early semester is not that hard, so stress is not happen when these general courses appear. And this is answer OG concern about stress, that the question that need to answer by OG, or the question that appear when OO saying this, the burden and also a new burden that coming from that going to need to answer by OG is why that even when this general courses is coming from is going to appear in the early semester, the stress is going to exist in the early semester, and why stress in late semester is not going to be as bad as in the early semester. And and there is no answer by OG. That's why in that three analysis I put O higher than OG. Now, lastly, on OG why OG lower than CG? I think first CG is talk in director perspective on how the university have obligation to have obligation to students, because those students is actually paid the university to get special courses. Comparing this to OO, I think that OO, like I told you before, talking this in students' perspective, and I think that in CG itself, when CG telling that the rector itself have have the obligation to give students a more specialized courses, because sorry because this is what university need to do. So the question that appear in OG when CG saying this is why stress is still going to exist when CG saying that CG saying about this obligation. I think that in term of rector perspective, it is more clear in CG, and when it comes to OG is talking on the student's perspective, knowing that this motion is need you to talk into the rector's perspective. I think that in rector's perspective, CG take this. But second, I think that when it comes to the appreciation itself, I think that CG still win in the term of appreciation. Why? Because because the tipping point on CG versus OG is the stress versus appreciation. In this case, I think that CG win because when it comes to what is the problem that going to be appear every day, I think that the analysis is appreciation or or students need to get appreciate from the university because they paid is exist every day because students is learn every day, they go to university. Comparing to OG, the question that the thing that I question in OG is how much the percentage of the student that going to stress, because in CG the case is real that university is need to need to give the students a specialist course because they already paid. But and it's happened every day. It's happened every day because the students is actually learn almost every day when it comes to their courses. But in OG, the question is, student will get stressed or pressure by these general courses. But the thing is that still going that is become a question is how much the student is how much student that going to have stress cases, because in specialized courses itself, stress is still going to be appear. That's why I put in that analysis, I put CG over OG. Now, into now CG to OO. Last two, CG to OO, and after that OO. Why OO win over everyone? I think that like this, CG bring about appreciation, right? And OO bring about how this is going to be benefit the student in long run. I think that the question that appear in closing government when it comes to appreciation, why rector need to appreciate the student itself? I think, yeah, of course, CG already taught us that the students is already paid, so they need to get more into the specialist courses. But in opening opposition, said that these general courses is actually benefit them. Now, into the rector perspective, I think that OO is still championing this case because of what? Because in OO, although university have the obligation to give students a specialist courses, I think that when these general courses benefit the student to get more knowledge in general problem and benefit the students and also the university at the same time, I think that from the rector perspective, I think it's going to be far more better in their side, in our side, because this is going to be benefit the university. The problem in CG, from the rector perspective itself, the question that appear, why when university or even director give the appreciation to the student, this is going to increase the reputation of the university, because that's OO biggest point, giving a better reputation to the university. I think that CG is not giving further explanation why when university or rector giving the appreciation to the student, this is going to increase the reputation. But when it comes to but in other analysis, I think that when it comes to appreciation of the university to give a specialist course, I think that in OO is still there, because OO never said that this when these general courses exist, specialist courses going to be decreased or even like going to be limited. No, special courses is still exist also on opening opposition. I think that in that term, appreciation also exists in opening opposition. That's why I put OO higher than CG. But second, CG no respond on how student. Before that, I think that CG also brought about how student can learn these general courses in their case by optional things. Students can take this general courses, or they can learn it outside of the university. But I think that OO respond or preempt these cases by saying that student is going too lazy to learn these general courses, because of course, when it comes to learn outside, student going to have to spend money to learn these general courses. That's why students that's why when this general courses is abolished by the rector, how can the student want to pay more money to learn general courses? But second, when it comes to the optional things that coming from CG, as the question is how, or even like or even what makes CG believe that this student going to take this general courses, uh, this general courses, if this general courses is already learned in junior high school or students high school by what CG saying, right? I think that in that analysis is this statement by CG creating a new question about how student going to take this general courses. Notice also OO telling that these general courses benefit the student in general problems. I think that CG is not giving a further explanation to answer this burden that coming from opposition, which is that in your side, what will make your students understand the general problems and create a policy that can fix this general problem? And in the meantime, how can in CG side, this is going to be benefit the university credibility? I think that this is not answered by CG. I put OO higher than CG because of this. But now why OO is higher than everyone? I think because of two reasons. OO is the only team that clearly representing the university, especially the rector, and the benefit of and student itself. OO is basically the team that playing on both sides because all of the team is playing whether on the rector perspective or the student's perspective. I think that OO win over everyone because they're telling you on how this is going to be benefit student, how this general course benefit student, and also benefit the university. Like the students going to have a general knowledge and can create a solution to those general problems, and this is going to be benefit the university because university going to get more credibility when the alumni itself is having a good reputation. This is going to be benefit the university comparing to other teams that this analysis is still standing at the end of the day. That's why I put OO higher than other teams. But second, that I think that when it comes to the students itself, OO is the team that giving a clear benefit how this is actually going to benefit the student in long run. Because comparing to other teams, the other team is more is giving benefit more into the short term itself. And the question that appear in other team when OO saying that this is going to be benefit the student in long run is how then students going to be benefit whether general courses is there or not. I think that this is not answered clearly by every teams except OO. That's why I put OO higher than everyone. Now, yeah, I think that's and my reasoning, my rank reason. And if you have any question or if you don't agree with my decision, feel free. Because this is going to give me more evaluation to my judging skill or to my judgment. Thank you. Speaker score, share aku akan ngasih ya. But kalian mau di sini atau personal aku chatnya?
I'm fine with any.
Oh ya, wait.